more predictive types of astrology, we're going to be looking at transit charts versus progress charts. I would describe this video as being suited to intermediate level astrologers or advanced level astrologers. I'm going to make it as clear as possible, but it'll be a lot easier to understand if you have a basic knowledge of what the houses are and the planets are, and also the signs. So I think a lot of people, when they start studying predictive astrology, they look almost exclusively at transit charts like this one here, or even perhaps a list of the transits that are happening and then interpret it to your chart. And basically what a transit chart is, as you can see, is like all these planets around the edge are the planets that are in the sky right now. And this chart shows you where that planet is sitting in your natal chart, right? But progressed charts are actually in some ways more important than transit charts. Transit charts talk about the activities that are happening in your life and what you're drawing and what's likely to happen to you, but progress charts talk about why they're happening to you in the first place and how you can change the way they're happening and how you can shift them. And so as a result, the progress chart is a more empowering angle to look at the experiences of your life through. And the reason for that is that basically what the progress chart shows us is the goals that our soul has set out for us, right? It's what our soul wants to accomplish. And basically what it is that the transit chart shows the way that our soul is going about accomplishing what it wants to accomplish. So the progress chart looks at what our soul wants to learn and how our soul wants to grow, and the transit chart looks at how it's growing and how it's learning. And so when you understand the progress chart, then of course you understand what your soul wants to do. And if you give your soul what it wants, then it eases the strain and the pressure that's put on the transit chart and just makes life a little bit more easy, and makes things flow just a lot more easily. So we're going to start by looking at the progress chart for that reason. The progress charts, they move really slowly. And as a result, we only ever really look at 3 planets, which are, well, planets / celestial bodies, which are the sun, the moon, and Venus. Although you could definitely look at Mercury too. So those 4 are the most significant in progress charts. Anything else is moving too slowly for us to really consider it. So we only want to look at those 4. And in today's lesson, I'm going to use the progressed moon as an example. So as you can see, the chart on the left here is a progress chart. And in this progress chart, we have the progressed moon right here. And if you look really close next to it, which I've kind of covered it with a little guy, we see Eris. So the moon is sitting on top of Eris, which is an outer planet. And then we have right here, we look here, and we look here, and we find out that the moon is in Aries. And then we look here, and we look here, and we find out that it's in the 12th house. So what does that mean? The progressed moon is what our heart wants. It's what our emotional body longs for. It's what we're clearing, what we're working through. It's the emotional clogs that we're experiencing. It's the emotional baggage we're experiencing. And it's what it's the emotions that our soul wants to resolve in order to move forward in life. And it becomes really, really important because it's the things that we need to work through in order to move out of where we are and move into a better space. Or it's the things that we need to move through in order to stop attracting the types of situations that are causing us the most pain. And so the progressed moon becomes really important, right? And in this case, and I should say also that the progressed moon stays in a single sign for about a 2-year period. So our moon goes through cycles, our heart goes through cycles of the sorts of things that it longs for and that it wants to work through. And those types of experiences that facilitate that learning and that emotional growth can be are set out by the transit chart. So the transit chart shows the types of experiences that we're drawing in order to give the moon what it longs for and what it seeks. And so in this case, we have a progressed moon in Aries in the 12th house, and it's doing something called conjuncting Eris. And so a conjunction just means when two planets or celestial bodies are sitting almost on top of each other. And when those things happen, it creates like a really tight bond with someone. It's sort of like they're giving each other a big hug. And in some ways, we can't distinguish between their energy, the energy of the moon and Eris in this case. And so in this case, we have a progressed moon that's cozying up to Eris. And what that means is that this person, their heart longs to make peace with the volatility of life. Their heart longs to make peace with the fact that, things live and things die, with chaos and destruction, with the fact that they're not in control, with the fact that, things happen even when they don't want them to happen, and that life is unpredictable, and that the world around them, is going to ebb and flow. There's going to be bad things that happen. There's going to be good things that happen. There's going to be things that they love dearly that they lose. There's going to be this sort of experience of the chaos of life, I'd say Eris, if you were looking for a tarot card to represent Eris, it would be the Tower. It would be, the period where, your life feels like it's been ripped out from under you. And so for this person, their heart longs to make peace with that chaos. It longs to almost, I'd say, like detach itself from emotionally from that chaos and come into a space where they can be totally at peace in the middle of a storm, where they can, find peace in their life even when life is confusing and feels out of control. And that's even sort of it comes across even more strongly in this particular chart because the moon is in the 12th house, and the 12th house in so many ways is about loss of control. It's about, letting go and letting God. It's about allowing. It's about making peace with spirit, and it's about making peace with the fact that life is fleeting. It happens for a short period, and soon it's over. So it's making peace with the sort of fleetingness of our existence. It's making peace with the fact that, the only constant in life is change. It's making peace with letting go of control. It's making peace with the idea that as much as we'd all like to believe it, we're never 100% in control. And there's always variables that are outside of our purview. Things that we can't account for and that kind of thing. So it's making peace with the unpredictability of life, and it's making peace with change, and it's making peace with destruction, and it's letting go of that sort of iron fist that we have on control. And all of those things are established by the 12th house and by the moon. And then we have that energy, that sort of dynamic duo is sitting in Aries, and Aries in the 12th house, in this context, when we've got the moon, it's the heart saying that it wants to make peace with anger. It wants to make peace with fear. It wants to make peace with the shame that this person is carrying. It wants to come into a space where it can let go of their shame. It wants to come into a space where they can make peace with fear and realize that fear doesn't have to hold them back. And that, fear can be, twisted and turned and moved so that it can be used, to move forward instead of to be propelled back. I mean, fear isn't a bad thing. It's part of our instinct to protect ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with it. And so this moon, this heart, this person's heart wants to learn how to make peace with fear, not fight their own fear, but listen to it and see what it has to say, and also to accept the shame inside of them and find a space where they can finally let that shame go and come into their self and realize that, there's nothing wrong with them and they're okay just as they are, and that they don't have to be perfect and they don't have to be in control in order to be safe or in order to be loved. And I think, as well, because of this sort of Aries lesson, that this person really has to make peace with the fact that that the answer isn't always action, that the answer isn't always to go out there and conquer your challenges. Sometimes the answer is to stand back and wait and trust your instinct and act when the time is right, not just when it's uncomfortable. So this person is learning when the right time for action is, and when is the right time to move forward, and when is the right time to just accept what is and make peace with it. And all of those things are what this person's heart wants. You know, they want to make peace with the unknown. They want to make peace with the futility of life. They want to make peace with the unpredictability of life. And they want to make peace with this part of them that's angry, this part of them that has shame, and this part of them that has fear. So that's the lesson this soul wants to learn. And now we're going to look at how the soul is choosing to learn it. So this period here, you see the sign here, the moon will be in that sign for about 2 years. And then in this person's case, of course, it would move into this, which is Taurus. And then they're going to have to look at how to make peace with the Taurus part of this equation, right? Now we're going to look at the transit chart. So that's what the soul wants. That's what the heart wants. And in this case, the transit chart is how the soul is choosing to accomplish that goal. What events they're drawing into their life in order to make that healing journey. And so in this person's case, if we sort of look at their chart, we can see a bunch of ways that the soul is using the energies of the universe to accomplish its goal, this being its goal. The first one, there's some astrologers out there who are going to get this one pretty quick. But the first one, right here, we have... Okay, so my circle drawing skills are not fabulous. But there we go. We have that planet. That planet is Uranus, however you'd like to pronounce it. Okay, and in this person's case, Uranus is in, boom, what house? Boom, what sign? It's in Aries. And it's in the 12th house. So all that stuff that Eris was trying to establish over here, which is about like unpredictability and loss of control, that the soul is going to experience by using the energies of Uranus, which is about shocks and surprises, flashes of inspiration and insight, aha moments, all that kind of stuff, right? So this person is going to draw to themselves lots of experiences that force them out of their comfort zone, lots of experiences that force them into new territory, lots of experiences that force them to look at life in really new and unusual ways. In this case, there's a bunch of stuff. This is sitting in the 12th house, so that's going to mean, that you're going to have upheavals in your subconscious, right? So it's going to be things that are out of your control, are forcing you to look at the threads that are running through your subconscious and face the things that you haven't faced in your life. So lots of experiences that are going to unhinge you, that are going to change the way that you see the world and that are going to change the way that you see yourself. 12th house could bring lots of stuff, but one of the biggest things that it's going to bring is a feeling of loss of control in life. And tying it back into here, we have this feeling as well that like spirit is not doing what you want spirit to do, that you feel out of control in your life. And that's mirrored by this experiences, which is going to draw a lack of control of your life. It's going to draw experiences that unhinge you, that reshape you, that just totally change everything that you are. So that's one way that the transit chart is supporting the progress chart. But there are many other ways in this chart, and I'm going to show you where. So some of them are things like this right here. So, and this right here. So for this person, again, we talked about what this means over here. Now over in a transit chart, we have an interception here, right? So in the natal chart for this person, they have an intercepted Pisces, right? And that intercepted Pisces is in the 11th house, okay? Right there. And if you look really closely down here, you'll see a tiny number 11 to show what house it's in. So an intercepted planet, either an intercepted planet or an intercepted sign, it's a place in your life where you have kind of like bottled up energy that doesn't know how to get out, and so it just sort of sits there and doesn't really do too much except for make you uncomfortable until one of the outer planets start transiting it, right? So it's sort of like untapped resources that don't get to come out and play until someone else comes over for a visit and gives them a doorway to come out into your life. And so in this case, you have this person with an intercepted Pisces in the 11th house. And right now they have Chiron in Pisces in the 12th house. And so that's mirroring the progress chart. The transit chart is Chiron and the 11th house Pisces, which means there's a sense of woundedness and loss of control over career and goals and aspirations. It means that the person is really trying to accomplish something, trying to build towards something, and that the universe isn't supporting that goal, and it's forcing that person to look at the powerlessness they're experiencing in their life, their relationship with God, and all that kind of stuff. So the challenges that they're facing in terms of their goals and aspirations are facilitating the ultimate aim of the soul, which is to learn how to embrace the volatility, the unpredictability, and the element of destruction and rebirth in life. So this facilitates that goal, right? But the difference is this is what the heart wants, and this is what the heart is creating in order to facilitate that want. So in this case, what the heart's creating in order to facilitate that want is challenges, difficulties, and struggle when it comes to accomplishing your goals, right? So whatever they do, it just doesn't seem to be the right thing. And so that becomes a constant source of pain, and it forces that person to deal with what's going on in their subconscious and what's blocking them and what's holding them back in order to work with the needs of the moon. But in this case, if you knew both of these things, if you don't know what's going on in the progress chart, you just think, oh, I'm going through some really challenging stuff when it comes to accomplishing my goals. Maybe I should change my goals. But if you understand the progress chart, then what you understand is that the real goal that you should have isn't to change what you want, it's to make peace so that it's not going to come in the way that you want it to right now. And that doesn't mean that you're supposed to give up and let go of your dreams. It just means you're supposed to make peace with the fact that they might happen differently than you want them to, or in different timing than you want them to. So it's making peace with what is, not letting go of what you want. And then we have, Neptune, which is transiting through this sign of Pisces in the house of goals and aspirations, and it's on its way to Chiron. And so when Neptune finally pushes forward enough, completes the transit, and ends up sitting on top of Chiron, what you'll find is that this person is just going to get hit really hard with that feeling again, that in a really intense way. So maybe something that they tried really hard for just doesn't work out for them, or maybe they give up on their dream, right? But if you see this over here, you know that it's not time to give up on their dream. It's just time to make peace with the fact that it's not coming in the way that you want it to, right? When you want it to. And so you can see that these three things are all finding a way to support this goal, but it's not just those three things that are finding a way to accomplish that goal. If you look at it, you have a lot of things that are trying to facilitate that accomplishment. For example, even this right here, you've got, Jupiter at the moment, which is retrograding, is in another intercepted house. It's in Virgo. So this is continuing with the same battle, right? Because, up here you have like Neptune telling Pisces, hey, relax, just let go, it's all going to be okay. Then you got Chiron saying it's not going to be okay, everything's over, the world is over, and everybody, I'm not being supported and everything is awful. And then you have Jupiter down here who's like, hey bud, all you got to do is get more organized. So get more organized, get things done, accomplish things. Everything's going to be okay as long as you get everything done. So these sort of opposing forces are pushing each other, one saying let go and one saying hold on, and that's mirroring the sort of inner battle that we have with the moon in Aries here, right? So, Jupiter, who's transiting through intercepted Virgo, is that person's saving grace. It's their solace. It's optimism even in times when everything feels like it's falling apart. It's giving them space in their life to create something beautiful even when things don't feel like they're working out their way. So this is supporting that person in managing this energy without being destroyed by it. And you can sort of look throughout the chart and you can see a bunch of other ways that that this goal is being supported. But the point is that if you look at the progressed chart, it gives you a hint at why the transit chart is behaving in the way that it is. And you can do that, of course, for the progressed Sun, you would find examples, or for the progressed Mercury, or the progressed Venus. Thanks so much. Hope this video helped.